What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another exciting episode of Tech Productions. Today, I'm Bancroft doing on once again for another deck profile. Not just any deck profile, but we're doing Baba and Grandpa Gohan. Before we go into it, just want to say I don't have the promos for this deck. Those promos are really good actually for this deck. Like, it makes this deck so much better. And I'll kind of loosely go over when I kind of go over the Baba and why I'd rather have the promos, but I don't. So just imagine I do when I say I would replace this card for that. All right. Like always, buttons, links, check them out. Let's get into it. So on the front side of Baba, when this card is placed in the lead area, you get to activate the field card, which is cool. So you just get to put it to the board. Most leaders that rely on field cards do that naturally. Activate main. You switch this card to rest mode, draw one card, look up the top two cards of your opponent's deck, then place them on top of the deck in any order. So this deck theme is the idea of just getting information on what your opponent is drawing to their hand, and then that way you can better prepare yourself. And then the awaken is your life is 5 or less, or you have 4 cards under your Fortuneteller Baba's Palace, which is a field card. In your battle area, you draw 2 cards. You do not go down a life. So this past weekend, I did play against a Genova Mill deck, and I just never could use super combos because I ended up accidentally awakening because I forgot that it specifies that you don't go down a life. So I was stuck. And yeah, that's the front side. And on the back side, you have the permanent that your yellow Son Gohan Z battle cards gain double strike, which is actually pretty cool. And then the auto, when this card attacks, draw 1 card, look up to 3 cards off your opponent's deck, get to place them in any order on top of their deck, and then activate battle for 1 yellow energy. If you choose 4 battle cards under your field card, you could just combo them, which is pretty nice. Kind of gives you an extra 20k combo power, if correct. But yeah, that's the leader. We're going to touch base on the Z deck first. So we're going to go over the Grandpa Gohan. Its cost is reduced, so it makes it a 2/2 if you have a energy cost 5 or more Son Goku Childhood that is not a grade 8. And then this card's deflect, barrier, dual attack, so it's coming into play, it's staying into play. And then when this card is played, choose one of your non-grade 8 Son Goku Childhood battle cards, and it gains dual attack for the turn. So it just kind of potentially, you pay 1 for the Goku, you pay 2 for this. Now you have 4 attacks coming at your opponent, and because your leader is who the leader is, it gives this guy double strike. So it's the dual attack, 25k double strike, and then auto at the end of your turn, you remove this card from the game. 2 is where I sit at. Maybe put up to 3, but I'm sitting at 2 right now. The other cards we play, Double Might Beam permanent. Your yellow Spike gets plus 5k power, so makes Spike I think 25k. And then the auto on this is remove this card from the game when one of your battle cards is KO'd or removed from the battle area by an opponent's skill. You choose one of your opponent's battle cards without Son Goku and its character name and you just KO it. So it doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's that barrier, you're just popping a card because one of your cards got removed. Because we do play a Goku, just play one of these. Goku's Kamehameha. Auto, when this card is placed in the battle area, choose all of your battle cards with Son Goku and the character name. It gets plus 5k power. Remove this card from the game. Chooses one of your opponent's skillless battle cards, which we don't care about that part. But the activate battle, remove this card from the game, choose 1 card with Son Goku and its character's name, and it gets plus 10,000 power and crit for the battle. So it just kind of gives you a nice little additional power. 1 SS3 Vegeta, because popping a card is always nice, especially when it's dual attack crit. And then last one, always we play the Evolve Defender Son Goku, which can stop a card from attacking or even switch a card to rest mode once per turn. So that's the Z deck. Going over the deck itself, we start with the field card. It has barriers, so it's staying, it's sticking, which is pretty nice. It has a permanent that you can't place more than 1 card with the same character name under this card in your battle area. And the auto is that when you play one of the 4 key cards for this deck, you get to pretty much pull that same character out of the deck, put it underneath this card, and then the activate main is once per turn, you can place one of those 4 cards from your hand to the bottom of your deck, and you get to draw 1 card. So you're guaranteeing those cards are in your deck when you need them. Going over the starter engine, we play 2 of the set Babas. I mentioned earlier that the promo has the activate main ability. This one has it as well, but the promo gets you a draw card. This one is more or less another way of thinning a deck. Don't ever want to use the top part of the activate main. So that's kind of why I want the promos more, because you get the guaranteed draw. But activate main here, you can choose 1 of 2 effects. You place this card in the drop. Play up to 1 Draco Man card of energy cost of 1 from your deck, shuffle your deck afterwards, or you grab 1 Crystal Gazing from your deck as your hand. It just helps you start the engine off if you don't see a Draco Man. You want to mulligan for Draco Man as soon as possible. That way you when you start the game off, so that way you're guaranteed to get the engine off. But we play 2 of them. I would rather just get, like I said, the promo one instead, but it does help you start the engine off. So for the engine, we play 4 Draco Mans. I'm going to kind of just go through this pretty quickly because they all have the exact same wording. So You declare a number when you play this card. You build top card opponent's deck. If the entry cost is the same as the card or number you declared, you get to pull the next stage for the Sake-san from your deck to your hand. And keep in mind, when you play these guys, you're pulling another card from your deck to put on this card. So initially, you're pulling 2 cards from your deck that way you're drawing 2 better cards that you want to draw into. Secondary auto is that if your leader is yellow, Fortuneteller Baba card, and your opponent's life is 7 or more, when this card is used in a combo from your battle area, your opponent adds 1 card from their life to their hand. So initially, if you go first, you play this card, you activate the main on the Baba, you get to do a quick little search. Your opponent, as long as you combo this card from the board, your opponent still loses a life. Going over the second chain, which is the 2-drop, its cost is reduced by 1 if you have a card if you're a field card, and the next 2 chains as well will also be reduced costs as long as you meet the amount of cards underneath your said field card. Permanent, this card cannot be attacked, so it's a 10k, it's always going to get a swing on, and then the auto is once again very similar to Dragon Man. You declare a number, reveal the top card of your opponent's deck. If the number matches the energy cost, you get to pull Bandage out of your deck, which here's Bandage, he's a 15k. The permanent reduces the cost by 2 if you have 2 or more cards on your field card, and the auto allows you to pull for Spike, and Spike is the 4-drop, which is 20k, but Spike's auto is different. So instead of pulling a card, if the revealed card's energy cost is the same as the declared number, you get to reduce the specific cost of a Double Might Beam in your Z deck by 1, so initially making it a 1-1 instead of a 2-1. Yeah, and then when you have that field card on the board, Spike's to 25k. So yeah, that's the core engine. What's great about these things is that when you establish 1 each of these cards underneath your field card, our next card gets super cheap. So going to the next engine, we play for the Goku, which has an activate main for 1 yellow energy. If there are 4 more cards under your Fortuneteller Baba's Palace card in your battle area, you play this card from your hand. Unique barrier, so it's sticking the board once it hits the board. But the declared number here is when this card attacks, reveal the top card of your opponent's deck. Then you flip the revealed card over. If the revealed card's energy cost of this is the same as what you declared, you choose one of your opponent's unisons with a specific cost of 2 or less, or up to one of your opponent's battle cards, both in rest mode, and then you can send the owner's drop. So it's a way of sniping a unison if your opponent's playing a unison deck. But outside that, you're able to just kind of snipe a card. Does not ignore barrier, but hey, it's fine. And outside the leader's ability to just kind of searching the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck and see how you want to do it, and the 1-drop Baba, which could potentially reveal the top card deck and see if you want to keep it. We play 4 of the Crystal Gazings, which just has an activate main / battle, which you could do it in your opponent's turn. You look up top 3 cards of your opponent's deck, and you put them back in any order. It does have an activate battle, where you declare the number, reveal the top card of your opponent's deck, yada yada yada. If the revealed card is energy cost is the same as the declared number you said, choose to one of your Fortuneteller Baba cards, and it gets plus 5k power for the turn. So initially it's a Sensor Beam. So you kind of rig your opponent's deck to where you want it to be, and then you pay 1 and you give a 5k boost for the rest of the turn to your leader. Because we play the Goku said earlier mentioned, we play 2 of the Son Gohan. It's a negate, but it's kind of like your last resort negate, because when you activate this negate, you can activate counterattacks for the rest of the turn. But the permanent is if you have a card of energy cost of 4 or more, and Son Goku in its character's name, you could activate this card's counter skill from your hand without paying the energy cost. But like I said, the auto here is if your opponent's turn, when this card is played, choose one of your battle cards with Son Goku in its character's name. You can switch to active mode, which is nice, so it stops being a target. But then you can't activate counterattacks for the rest of the turn. So it's kind of like my secondary negate if I have a Goku on board. And always the first go-to is Mecha Frieza, because it slows your opponent down. If they have the tap cards, get attacks in, it just feels good. We do play 2 of the blocker negates. Just get down to 4, so we use super combos. 1 power of a Super Saiyan. Just a good yellow card that allows you to tap a card down and draw a card, or you can use it as a negate if you want to. Moving to counterplays, we do play 2 Vegetos, and typically this is a card I will side out most of the time when I feel like I don't need it. Unless my opponent's playing a super aggro deck, I'll keep it in the deck. But like I said, this could be Babas instead. 3 Shinron, because it's good yellow. Deflect, Unison, Barrier. Sorry, not using it, but Deflect, Unique, Barrier, Blocker. It hits the board, it saves the board, you draw a card, and then when your opponent plays a card, you negate the skills, and then potentially this card can restand, so you can initially attack twice with this card, or primarily block twice with this card. More counterplays to Tyrannical Blows, because it's just really good, and if my opponent tries to negate me, I could just Cooler it, because Cooler's a fun card. 2 Final Flashes. 3 of the Krillin Super Combos. We do play the Secret Rare Piccolo Son Gohan because we have a yellow leader. And then the last boss monster for 1 energy, it's a 30k double strike. I mean, you can't go wrong with that, in my opinion. But yeah, that's Baba. Maybe when I get the promos, I'll kind of do an update it and change some numbers around. But I like it. This deck's actually a lot more fun than I thought it would be. The idea of knowing what your opponent's drawing into their hand is really great. And I'm not going to talk about the side deck, but I do play 2 of the Clanetaires, which you play in combinations with the Mecha Frieza. And if you know what your opponent's drawing every turn, once you play this card, you get full hand knowledge of your opponent. So you now know what your opponent can do every turn. And at that point, you should have a better chance of winning. Or you just know when to scoop. But yeah, that's my profile. Thank you all for tuning in. Keep in mind those buttons, links. Bye.